Good afternoon or good morning, depending on what side of the timeline you're on. It's afternoon here in Texas. I hope everyone's doing well. I am currently, this whole week has been garbage. Every freaking thing I've had scheduled has gotten screwed up one way or another. The liquor store's busy, really. Well, now I know what to open, a bar or a liquor store if things get really bad, because since the beginning of time, people get sad or they have bad news and they go and get wasted. So I guess that's one of those forever businesses, along with hotels and prostitution, is giving people booze, huh? Hey, my skydive. Hey, random. Hold on, I gotta let this guy. If I don't let him through, nobody else will let the poor guy through. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing all right. So I saw a news clip earlier that was from another creator, and it didn't sound right. And I'm like, there's something missing here. Hey, random. Hey, KP. And anyone I missed. Skydive, hello. So, So I think it was that guy, Tim, what's his name? Not Tim Scott, that's the presidential candidate. It's the little guy who always wears a beanie. Tim something. I just blanked out. Anyway, you guys may know. Hey, Water Tiger. If you guys remember his last name, please shout it out. But anyway, he was saying that the judge has summarily ordered that Trump's businesses be disassembled, that they're dispersed, that they can't do anything. And I'm like, eating peanut butter pecan? Tim Post, thank you, Yardbirds. I just blanked out. Yeah, I was like, what the hell is his name? Tim. I got Tim Scott stuck in my head. And that they had disbanded his business. Hey, Loretta. Good afternoon. So I looked at other news sources, and what Tim Scott had put was that the judge had done a summary judgment, which is partially true for the most part, which basically says we already agree that this has occurred. Now we're going to the penalty phase, but it was only for certain aspects of the business. And hey, Bonnie. And long story short, when I checked other sources, it turns out that they're still passing and pushing movements and making requests in the courtroom. So this is not a done deal by any means. Trump's attorney, not the pretty lady that's been scolding the DA, but the other guy, it's a Spanish guy, I forgot his name, Jose Martinez or something, basically said the state has not proven without a shadow of a doubt that these things happened. We have statements from the banks that loaned Trump the money saying, no, they've made their money, and hey, Neil, and everything's legit. So they're kind of like, that takes the air out of what y'all are saying. Basically, they're arguing technicalities, but that is not 100% accurate. Whether the judge has decided Trump did or didn't do anything, he has not ordered the corporation, the business entities, to come apart. So I'm going to look a little more into that, but that turned out to not be 100% right. Even if he says he plans to, understand that we still have a Fourth Amendment, right? So that can be appealed, where Trump's attorneys can basically say, well, he's supposed to have due process, and he cannot have his property or his rights taken away without due process, and he was not given a jury trial. The judge made a summary judgment, which will also get appealed. So honestly, one, I think they're peeing in the wind with this case, and they may have something legitimate that I don't know about. But two, honestly, I think this is purely to tangle the guy up so he doesn't run for office. Now, whether you like him or not is a different question. What I don't like, I wouldn't like this if it happened to Obama even, and I'm not a fan of Barack, but if somebody said, oh, we accuse him of X, and then a judge said, you know what, I decided he's guilty, we'll just go straight to penalty phase. No, Joe, we're actually talking about incorrect headlines. from the alt-right, both the prosecuting attorney, oh shit, and the judge, or yeah, and this is very biased, and this whole trial shows bias, even the language that's being used. And what it does is diminishes the validity of the courts, right? It diminishes people's respect. This is a time to not, we already don't trust a lot of our institutions. What you don't need is a judge actually proving us right in an open court, in the news, saying, oh yeah, no, I voted against him, or I judged against him because I don't like him because he's Donald Trump, right? Because then basically what it says is, oh, we're a banana republic, and you know, we can just deny you your rights and all this other shit. Yeah, Yardbirds, that's right. And there were a lot of people standing in the way. A lot of the protesters from January 6th, which for the record, they probably needed to be arrested for, you know, breaking and entering and the other shit, but they're being held on these weird ass charges. That disturbs the shit out of me, because basically a judge by fiat can simply say, yeah, so I do have chemical plant news, KP. A judge by fiat can just say, oh, you're guilty, and you have no trial. So, yeah, well, you had a riot, Joe. I mean, there were rioters, but they weren't trying, I don't think they were, if it was an insurrection, it would have been like what happened, hey, Tennessee, in Darfur, where you had two different factions of the military plus militias fighting with each other in the streets, people dying in the streets. That's an insurrection. What happened in the Capitol was a bunch of idiots rioting, probably provoked by other idiots. But anyway, regardless, they all have the right to a speedy trial. They all have the right to have their constitutional privileges put upon them. Hey, Tennessee. So I think this is purely smoke and mirrors. The whole Trump thing is purely smoke and mirrors to, and to Joe's point, by the way, a lot of the protesters were like taking selfies in front of the statues, so I don't even know. Yeah, it was a small group of dumbasses. Well, no, and more importantly, they're finding holes whereby they deny people their rights. So this will get contested. It'll get contested in one of the appeals courts. I think this is purely dog and pony show just to prevent him from running the way he wants to. What ironically it's doing, it's actually lifting him in the polls. So I don't know if that's what they wanted to have happen, but it's lifting the guy up in the polls. And that should be concerning to the other side, like, wow, this is not what we should be doing if we want to beat him. So we'll see. But in any case, the news that came out that says Donald Trump's business empire has been disbanded, from what I see, that is not a done deal at all. And plus, there are other stakeholders, right? Hey, FSP. There are other stakeholders. There are other people who are investors, so you can't deny them their due privileges, their funds, their property. It's going to get appealed by someone. So I think this is just a big ball of bullshit. It'll eventually get settled out of court for some fee. But yeah, right now it's just a bunch of hoorah. So the chemical fire in Houston, the president of the company was actually on the news in Houston, in one of the Houston news channels. I think it was ABC 7. I might be wrong. And he was there with the sheriff and with the fire chief, and he said that, you know, we have a lot of good personnel. He said, we'll rebuild. We've been doing this for over 12 years. So the company's been there a little bit. But he said we don't know what caused it, but we do know that all our employees are going home tonight. One guy got hurt, but he was in a minor surgery. He said, we're going to take care of his bills. So I applaud the CEO of this company for getting in the news. He clearly was tired, but he got in the news in front of the cameras with the sheriff, with the fire chief, and kind of gave an update. He said it was a lot of diesel and turpentine and a couple other chemicals. He said they expect that with the wind and the rain, it should dissipate within, they did some calculation within so many hours. There are no immediately caustic chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, stuff like that. So right now they're just cleaning up a mess. I'm assuming by now they're going to get the fire under control. But sounds like more of an industrial accident. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes. So in some funny news, though, hey Canadian, I'm sure many of you heard Gal Gadot was a former IDF soldier, right? The actress, and obviously a supporter of Israel. So she was able to get almost an hour of unedited footage to show a select audience in Hollywood, right? This was supposed to be a private screening, so like a lot of the Hollywood elite who are kind of like, well, was it really that bad? Was it fake news? She's like, no, I got unedited shit, and I will sit there and narrate for you, right? So she put herself out there. She collected, hey, papas. Well, during the filming, which I hear from what a couple of people said was very graphic but very detailed, and it gave a lot of people an understanding of how bad this shit was. The pro and anti-Palestine, pro-Israel, pro-Palestine people got in a fight in the street outside protesting the video. And they proceeded to, they were fighting with the flags, which I always find amusing because they're like on a plastic pole. Then they started throwing trash cans at each other. It was some ratchet street fight. Like seriously, it was really ratchety. Then one guy took off one of his shoes and smacked down another guy. So someone else hit him with a bottle of iced tea. They were just smacking the crap out of each other. Finally, the cops showed up. And the cops that were there in the first place are like, yeah, we don't have enough people to deal with these idiots. So more cops came, and they kind of, a few people got arrested, and they pepper sprayed a few. One punched a cop and took a beating, which is fine by me. But it's like, y'all dumbasses, she's showing a movie of footage you could probably find on YouTube and TikTok. So, if you can't behave and you're going to be a bunch of pendejos and just start punching each other for a video you haven't even seen, just because it offends your ass. Anyway, so yeah, they had a big old street brawl as a result of a video that none of the fighters actually saw. So I wanted to see footage of the idiots fighting, because the one still photo I saw was this very large man with, like, I guess a Palestinian flag, throwing a very sad kick. It looked like Kung Fu Panda's kick, like, hey-ya, at another guy. And then in the next scene, somebody hits him with a trash can lid. And I'm like, what the hell kind of fight are you? What are you doing? You're just making a mess. No one's actually getting hurt except for the guy who punched the cop. He apparently took a beating, which is, again, fine by me. Over a video, you don't even know what the contents are. Hey, book club. So, yeah, the level of pendejadas with some of these people, it's like, you can't just stay on your side of the street. You gotta go. And hey, Joe. Wait, what did Joe say? I missed Joe's. Canadian prep or got wise. Oh, our friend from up north. Oh, what did he say today? I stopped following him and the other guy, the bald white guy that looks like he's on meth. What's with all? I mean, I know I don't have hair, but what's with these bald guys who freak out? They're just like, and they make every freaking thumbnail they make, they have eyes like the kukui, like they're just like, and they're freaking out about something. And they put, get this now or death. No, there's no death. There's a bunch of pendejos, fat people and skinny people who don't understand what they're doing, punching each other. I think you broke it again. Oh, man. So anyway, well, I'm driving through downtown. I always lose connection right around this block. Okay, daily dose of doom and gloom, yeah. So anyway, so for those of you who came a little bit late, the story that the judge summarily, like, destroyed Trump's business empire, not accurate. What I'm seeing, they're still filing motions. They're still arguing. The defense attorneys have asked that a bunch of things be thrown out because the state did not prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, and that it was appealable, which the judge didn't like, but he said he understood what they were saying, so he would deliberate, whatever the hell that means. It's just a bunch of caca, really. It's just, they're just doing this shit to waste time so he can't run for office. Because apparently, you know, they just want to be assholes to each other. Yeah, so that, not 100% true. They're still passing judgments, and keep in mind, other people have invested in these businesses. So they can't just deny, you know, however many investors the rights to their portion of any profit, because they're going to get sued too. They'll challenge it, and so it will go on, and it'll just continue ad nauseum. Where are you going, dude? You're going the wrong way on the road. People are confused. Okay, why is it when it rains in this part of Texas, people forget that there are lines on the road? Like, where's the logic there? I've seen my dogs freak out because of rain because they don't like being wet, but adults in cars shouldn't be freaking out. I don't. Again, these are probably the type of people who fight in front of Gal Gadot's video. In any case, I've not seen the footage. Marfugal has turned into fear porn and buy my crap show. Well, that's not fun. No, and I mean, I get it. Some guys are like, hey, this is a great product, I like it, whatever, but yeah. Well, so the Gal Gadot thing, it was not really a riot. It was a fight between two groups of shitheads that got offended because of a video that neither side actually saw. And they started punching each other and, you know, doing Kung Fu Panda kicks to each other in the street and throwing garbage. It snowed, and it's Canada. And still forget. Oh, okay, yeah, I can see that. Well, they forget in West Texas, because it doesn't rain a lot out here, they forget that water is wet. And they drive like 900 miles an hour, and then they get in a wreck and flip their truck. And, you know, the cops are, hey, what's up, creative? The cops are like, for snuff flicks. Speak of Canada. But yeah, I can't explain why that fellow put some of what he does. To be fair, some of his videos are interesting, but like some are just like, yeah, that's a bit much, dude. Like that's silly shit. But in any case, so the news that Trump, his empire is gone, is not 100% right. Final judgments have not been made. There will be appeals. So I don't like the fact that a judge was able to give a summary judgment and the defense could not appeal it, which basically means there's no trial by jury. I think that's a dangerous precedent. But that being said, you know, we'll see where it all goes. And the Gal Gadot video did not result in a riot. It resulted in a fist fight of about 30 dumbasses who, again, were fighting over a video nobody's seen, so they couldn't explain why they were fighting. But they decided it was a good idea to go punch each other, so that's fine. To me, that's kind of a Darwin Award situation, right? If you get a bunch of stupid people fighting and they leave the gene pool, then we don't have to... the same people that give pedophiles 6-month probation, probably. So I've seen, man, Joe, speaking of that, I'll tell you what, this one's probably going to get me banned talking about this subject. But I was on Instagram and someone put a article of a teacher, a young teacher, woman, about 25-ish, very attractive. I mean, she looked beautiful, who had sex with a 14, 15-year-old, a teenage boy who probably wanted to hump everything in his within 30 feet. And she got busted. And she went to jail because he's underage. You know, it's just statutory rape. It's what it is. And this guy puts, it's only rape if it happens to girls. If it happens to boys, he's a stud. And then they start arguing about what this guy said. I've been backing up in driveway now with the van. It was first fast food in a year. And you're going to shit that out later badly, Joe. But anyway, somebody actually went to this idiot's profile, and he has kids. And they're like, so if someone who was 25, 30 years old had relations with your 12-year-old daughter, that would be okay. Hey, Pennsylvania. And the guy wouldn't reply. And then someone posted a picture that the guy had left on his profile with him and his 2 kids. And they're like, so you have girls. So if someone does it to your kids, because you have 2 girls, that's illegal. And it's like, there's just some people, Joe, that are stupid. And Tennessee brings a good point. So you guys notice I almost always back in. Yeah, but at 17, Joe would have legally fallen into, at least in Texas, would have been the Romeo and Juliet law, which is if you're within a few years of each other. But this is like a 30-year-old and a 12-year-old. It's like, dude, which still is sketch. But I guess the double standard where the guy's like, well, if it happened to your kid, that's fine, but not mine. It's like, really? Come on. But to Tennessee's point, backing in is something we've done in the energy sector forever with the fleet trucks. I actually made all my kids back in, and my daughter's fiance is a former firefighter, so he always backed in his vehicle. There are a lot of benefits to it. It does take some practice depending on what you're driving. One, your first move is forward, right? Right, Bonnie. Yeah. And the fact that he was making exceptions for his kids, but if for someone else's son, that's okay. Post office does it too. Your first move is forward, so you're already naturally looking this way anyway, and your blind spots are at a minimum, right? 2 is it allows you to see the incoming traffic, and traffic can see you, and you can make eye contact with the other driver to verify they know what the hell you're doing. And you can signal each other if you need to. And 3, from a more pragmatic perspective, if I back into a spot, hey, devil dog, and someone rolls up on me to carjack me, I can hit the gas, and I'm now a missile in a 3,000-pound rocket. I'm gonna hit the guy. The dad and kid who got almost carjacked in Houston and drove away, he actually was an attorney for an oil company, and he always had to back in. So he did that by habit at his house. So when the carjackers came to his car, he was already looking forward, and he saw an opening between the tree in his yard and the bad guy's car, and he just hauled ass through there, and he clipped one of the guys. He spun him into the dirt, but he was gone. And they were driving a janky, like, old car, and he had a damn, like, a performance Mercedes with a little air fin on the back. So his ass was gone. Like, when he hits the gas, you see the tires smoke a bit, and he goes, choom, and they're trying to, like, get back in the car and turn around and chase him. I'm like, you ain't catching that dude. He's gone, man. Homeboy was like, nope, not today, Satan. He was gone. So, backing in, always a good idea. Also, if you have kids, we had a neighbor in Louisiana when I lived down there. It wasn't one of my immediate neighbors. Someone in the subdivision had backed up, and one of the kids, his own kids, had run across the drive when he hit his kid. And he put her in the hospital. I don't know if he killed her. That absolutely devastated the guy. So now he has an injured child, which comes with the trauma, the expense, the hurt. And then he's traumatized, the kid's traumatized, right? Mom probably had a heart attack. Hey, Pilgrim, so having kids, I always back, and you sometimes can't, right? Those stupid parking lots at the grocery store have those angled spots. You really can't back in. I sometimes do to be a shit, but you really can't. But, you know, if you can back in, it's always a good practice, folks, always. But anyway, folks, so that's it. As far as the Trump trial, the reports that his business empire has been destroyed is not true. They're still passing arguments back and forth. Hey, the Gal Gadot viewing did result in a bunch of people fist fighting outside the theater for whatever reason. They were just being a bunch of shitheads. And right now, the fire outside of Houston was getting contained. They were letting it burn out, and it was mainly diesel and paint thinners. Not great things, but yeah, Pennsylvania, those are absolutely good tips. Hey, Virginia. But you know, that should be by now under control. But that's a good lesson, folks. Those kind of fires, knowing how to seal up your house. If you have those masks, that's great. I wound up getting 2, one for me, and I liked it so much. Believe it or not, it did seal over my beard, which now I understand why our safety guy kept saying you need to, if you're going to have a long beard, you got to cut it to here and to here, and you have to trim it under your neck, is because that mask literally fits around my muzzle. And as long as I shave the rest of this, I was able to get it sealed. So I got to fit test the wife. I'm sure she'll be thrilled with that. Knowing her, she'll put it on and chase the dogs and piss them off, and then they'll tear up the house. So we'll see how that goes. But folks, look, watch the news, pay attention. Now, the Angry Prepper just posted a video, I've only seen part of it, that the FBI's put out some extra warnings. This should not be a surprise. It wasn't a surprise for him. Shouldn't be a surprise for any of you, right? Pay attention to your surroundings. Know what normally goes on in your area, so that if something that is abnormal happens, you're not caught off guard. You know what I mean? You see it coming, or you notice it and go, wow, that's not right. But folks, look, there's a lot of people are jumping the gun on a lot of headlines. Even like the list of cities that were a threat. Federal Bureau of Incompetence. You know, that city of threats, well, a bunch of us could have sat down over pizza and beer and figured out most of that list. Some of the cities didn't make sense. That's why I put supposedly or allegedly. I don't remember what I titled it. It's because I can't validate it. I'm going to look again, maybe somewhere it's posted. Most of the cities made sense. Why they'd attack Raleigh and not, I don't know, some other place I could think of. I don't know. So in any case, pay attention to your demographics, your surroundings, people's behavior. You tend to know things. I think we as humans, Royal Canadian mashed potatoes, RCMP, that's we as humans have squished our innate native ability to pick up on danger, right? We either overreact to everything, or we go, no, that's not danger, and we try not to look at it as if the danger will go away. And the best way to go about it, go with your gut, okay? That comes from somewhere, from, you know, eons of evolution. If you are walking down a street and you see people who are sus, and your gut goes, that's danger, don't go, oh, I'll just walk by and put my head down. And now you look more like a target because you look like a schmuck, and they're going to jump on you if they were planning to. It's, if it's not right, go another direction. You know, follow your instincts, folks. They're there for a reason. Again, don't be paranoid, but think about it and say, why do I feel like this? You can even ask yourself that if you have a second, like, this is not comfortable. Why do I feel like that? Well, okay, for instance, I had a coworker who, she had gone to a party, and left shortly thereafter. We were there was a group of us at a brew house, and this person wound up joining us, and we thought they were going to go to another location. We're like, hey, I thought you were going to the other gathering. And oops, Tennessee, they moved the buttons around. I hid two people's comments yesterday and didn't realize it until later in the chat, so I had to unhide them. But in any case, they said we walked in and it wasn't right. That was good enough for me. Like, it was two ladies, they walked in and they're like, something wrong. So they're like, they're like 20 guys, there's one other woman and the two of us, and we don't know anyone here except for that one person. And they bailed and they joined a group of us elsewhere, followed their gut. Could something have happened? Maybe, maybe not. But it wasn't cool for them. So, I know karate and a few other Japanese words. Go with your gut, pay attention to your surroundings, the usual stuff, folks. The analysts economically are saying we'll have inflation for a while. Okay, so we know it's there. Adjust your expenses accordingly. And, just plan it out. Don't react to what other people are saying, because now this week that I saw this list and I'm like, I'm not sure about this list, but here it is, take it for what it is. And then I couldn't validate it the next day. And again, that headline with Trump's business, and I checked for about 30 minutes between meetings. And actually I was ignoring somebody's meeting because they weren't making any sense and they annoyed me. And honestly, I can't validate that either. So don't overreact to some of this stuff. Goofy news. It is goofy news. They got it wrong. This is why it's goofy. Hey, Betty. So anyway, folks, sorry, I lost. The chat just jumped on me. Said run foo. Run foo. Who flung poo? I remember that. God, we used to say stuff like that all the time. That's when kids played with Lincoln Logs and cars and Barbies and not sat there staring at a screen for 8 hours and then spat at their mom. By the way, what's up with those kids? If I ever spat at my dad, I would die. Like, there would be death or severe unhappiness. Like, yeah, I don't. That's the future generation. They'll learn. They get drafted, though. Anyway, folks, so, yeah, as far as the news, it's goofy because I can't verify any of it. And the funny one that I could verify was that they had a big old street fight outside of Gal Gadot's viewing of the Hamas attack. So, go figure. Legos dinosaurs. Oh, damn, they got advanced. I had those sad-ass Legos with the weird colors. I didn't have dinosaurs. I had to make a dinosaur. But in any case, folks, be careful out there. Be safe. I have the taste slapped out of my mouth if I did that. So my brother spat at my dad, and without missing a beat, he used to love those little really hot red cherry peppers. I don't know if I'm describing it right. I forgot what they're called. He grabbed that pepper, grabbed my brother by the scruff, and just went bloop into his mouth, and just got about half a dozen of those seeds in his mouth. And my brother had fire mouth for like the next half hour. And that was the best thing in the world. So I tried that with my son, but then it turned out he liked jalapeno and he now loves spices. So like it kind of backfired on me, but it worked with my brother. I don't even remember why he did that. Dad told him no, and he spat at Dad. When he did that, I was on the other end of the couch. I'm like, oh, you fucked up, dude. And then Dad was all over him. So it was pretty... There were consequences in my childhood. I'm sure most of y'all as well. But anyway, folks, be careful, be safe. Cussed my mom once as a kid. She slapped the shit out of me. So, yeah, never again, right? Or you run your mouth in the street and you take a beating. Then you don't do that anymore, right? Because you know better. But anyway, folks, be careful, be safe. There are a lot of weird headlines, goofy headlines out here. Hey, Two Wolves, thanks. If I missed anyone in the chat's kind of jumping around on me. At least it's clear this time so I can read it. Some of these headlines are not 100% right, or it's partial. So don't have a heart attack. Try and validate it if you can. And again, the FBI, as Angry Prepper pointed out, they did put out a warning, a legitimate one, and it makes sense. It's not a surprise. And he wasn't surprised. Like I said, he seemed kind of like, yeah, this is, we let all these people in and now we don't know who's where, and now everyone's pissed off. So, ta-da. Be careful. Watch your area. Get to know the rhythm, the ambiance, the behavior of wherever you hang out, wherever you live. Because if something changes, you're going to know. And that can give you a tip-off that something is not bad, is going bad or not. I just heard this weekend. Okay. Well, if I can get anything more detailed, I'll try and post it on my community page. I'm headed to a meeting right now, but I'll post it on my community page so you guys can kind of read through it and get an idea of what may be going on. Be safe. Stay prepped. Yeah, Devil Dog, stay prepped. If you are allowed to carry, or if you have other ways of protecting yourself, never hurts to have them. At the very least, the economy is shit and people are freaking out. So they're doing bad things. So at the very least, it's against criminals and idiots. Anyway, God bless, Godspeed. You guys be safe out there.